I say to this day, and I do it based on my reaction. Obviously, this is personal. I say it's the greatest knockout of all time. First time I ever stood up, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up. I was just like, oh!
I saw that. I saw you stand up. That's the first time I see
it. Was just, what?
Unexpected him the last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that. He at least won 3.
I'm a little up, but will you take care of me forever and ever?
When Anthony Joshua finally delivered the crushing 6th-round knockout that ended Jake Paul's attempt in their highly anticipated heavyweight clash, Joe Rogan's live reaction captured the sheer magnitude of the moment in combat sports. Rogan, who had previously cautioned about Joshua's one-punch power and the risk Paul was facing, reacted without hesitation as the decisive strike landed, portraying it not merely as a fight-ending knockout but as a moment that could be remembered as one of the most brutal and iconic knockouts in boxing history.
Come full steam ahead 100 miles an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I...
The bout, officially billed as Judgment Day, was contested over the scheduled 8 3-minute rounds in the heavyweight division, with Joshua entering as the clear favorite due to his superior experience and size advantage, standing at 6 feet 6 inches and weighing around 243 pounds compared to Paul's 216 pounds. After several cautious early rounds, Joshua gradually took control, sending Paul to the canvas multiple times in the 5th round before ending the fight with a devastating 6th-round knockout at 131, landing a powerful right hand that left Paul on the mat and prompted the referee to stop the contest.
Anthony Joshua. Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul loses for the 2nd time in his career.
Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul was among the most talked about fights of the year, not only because of the personalities involved but also because it highlighted the stark contrast between traditional heavyweight boxing and the social media-driven influencer era.
Performance by Jake, brother. Come on, bro. He's a fucking legend for that. He had such big balls getting in the ring with that guy, dude. Josh was a monster. He stayed in it the whole time, and I'm really proud of Jake, dude. All my respect to him, bro. Whatever outcome. I mean, dude, he went 6.5 rounds with Anthony Joshua, one of the best in the world, so I got nothing but respect.
And got up like 2 times?
No, sick.
Talk about that. I mean, there's been other heavyweights that have felt that right hand who haven't got up.
Nagano, so many people, bro. The overhand right. Jake's got a tough chin, dude. I think he does whatever he wants after this. He just has such big balls, dude. He had to keep moving. That was the only strategy. People are gonna say he ran around the ring. They don't understand fucking boxing.
He showed a ton of heart, right? What's next for Jake Paul? Where does he go?
Joshua, the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion, entered the fight as a heavy favorite, while Paul, a YouTuber-turned-boxer, leveraged his platform to amass a large following in boxing despite facing criticism from purists questioning his credentials. Nevertheless, few genuinely believed he had a realistic chance against the power and skill of an elite heavyweight.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was going to win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight, even Rosendo, my boxing coach. I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, this is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City, and I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? What safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you gotta give credit.
After the fight, Anthony Joshua was candid and reflective about his performance, acknowledging that although he secured a 6th-round knockout, he did not feel it was his best effort and believed he could have performed much better. He admitted that he needed to improve, as he struggled early to land clean shots and was unable to corner Jake Paul as quickly as anticipated, describing it as a win but not a true success and emphasizing that there is still significant progress to be made.
Done better is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up.
Despite ending the fight with a knockout, Joshua made sure to recognize Jake Paul's courage and toughness inside the ring, explaining that although he achieved the 6th-round stoppage, Paul showed genuine determination by rising again and again after being knocked down and choosing to keep fighting against a much more seasoned former world champion. Joshua added that very few fighters would be willing to step into the ring with an opponent of his level, and that Paul's refusal to quit and his effort to push forward, even during difficult moments, earned his respect.
Eddie, AJ's won 6 rounds, he kind of dismantled him, he took his time. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean,
Well, he broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know, it knocked him out,
Knocked
but he
his
was
teeth
not
out.
unconscious. You know, I mean, look, he may not come back from it. If he has broken his jaw, it's a big injury to come back from.
Well, there's pictures of him in hospital right
Yeah,
now.
well, listen, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't, I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line, and, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual
Is that how
work.
you see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp, and now he's done 6 rounds. He's got something to go back.
Paul suffered a broken jaw in his 6th-round knockout defeat, as the damage occurred after Joshua connected with a crushing right hand that brought the fight to an end in round 6. Following the stoppage, Paul appeared with blood visible around his mouth and stated in the post-fight interview that he believed his jaw had been broken, a concern that was later confirmed to be accurate.
What's up, man? What's your reaction to it?
I'm just so proud of him. My mom has it.
Your brother fought his ass off, man.
Yeah,
I mean, other heavyweights have taken that right hand and only took 1.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Right.
Like, minus the actual victory, obviously, of course, but bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one point.
I'm trying to get his head. I think I pissed him off. I was just saying fat shit. I love AJ.
Yeah.
But bro,
I saw you going down
there. I was talking so much. But I just pissed him off. Then he broke my brother's jaw.
Jake leaned into his trademark bravado with a defiant post, sharing an X-ray image that revealed his jaw was broken in 2 places. Alongside the scan, Paul wrote, "Double broken jaw. Give me Canelo in 10 days, as medical imaging later confirmed fractures on both sides of his jaw, commonly referred to as a double broken jaw. Despite the injury, he reportedly drove himself to the hospital after the fight to receive treatment. Doctors estimated the recovery period to be approximately 4 to 6 weeks, and Paul continued to post photos and updates on social media, confirming the fractures while also thanking fans for their support.
Nikita, just down here, Jeffrey from the Sun. Just to follow up on Jake, he said he broke his jaw in the aftermath. Has he gone to hospital? What's the health update on Jake?
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower, he drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA, and I think the recovery time from the doctors and surgeons we've already talked to is...
Nick Issa Badarian commended Paul's heart, toughness, and overall strategy, pointing out that Jake performed impressively against one of the most dangerous punchers in heavyweight boxing and may have even taken a few rounds early in the bout. However, he stressed that Paul's defeat was not due to a lack of boxing skill, but rather the clear size and weight disparity between the two fighters, as Joshua's larger frame and superior strength steadily drained Paul's energy and enabled the former champion to land powerful shots that eventually resulted in the knockout. Badarian added that Joshua's physical dominance was a key factor in breaking Paul down over time, emphasizing that despite the loss, Paul's effort and performance still deserved respect.
And ultimately, Jake Paul lasted a lot longer than anyone said he was going to. And I haven't seen the official scorecards. I don't know if anyone else has, but I think he might have won a round or two or even three. He was doing tremendously well in there against a person who is vastly more skilled, vastly larger, vastly more powerful. And he did it on 4 weeks preparation.
What would you like to see next for Jake?
I'd like him to take a beat, relax, and then think about when he's gonna fight next. You know, we talked about June, July timeframe. He loves this sport. He loves MVP. He loves the athletes. He loves giving them platform and push. This young lady right here, the whole time when I was talking to her, I said, "What do you think?" She goes, "Jake's gonna win. I believe in him. He can do whatever he wants to do." That's the kind of family that we're building at MVP. It's a fighter-first organization. You guys saw our weigh-in yesterday. That stuff costs a lot of money. But we want to put on the best brand for these fighters to show the world.
Several fighters recognized Jake Paul's toughness for getting into the ring with a former heavyweight champion and managing to last until the 6th round despite the clear differences in size and experience, noting that he showed heart and determination even though he was eventually knocked out. Eddie Hearn also acknowledged Paul's effort, but offered a more restrained assessment, explaining that while Paul demonstrated some resilience, the result was never really in question. Hearn stated that no one realistically expected Paul to go very far against a fighter of Anthony Joshua's level, and that reaching the 6th round was more a reflection of his durability than any high-level boxing skill. He suggested that the performance ultimately underlined the gap between social media crossover fighters and true elite professionals, emphasizing that although surviving several rounds was noteworthy, it did not change the reality that Joshua's power and experience controlled and decided the fight.
First 2 or 3 rounds, a little bit frustrating because you've been out of the ring for a year and a half and you've got a guy that's just running around the ring and, you know, you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, but his clinching was quite good, Jake. Like, you know, listen, you know, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, you know, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
You described Jake as average a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average, now I think he's decent. And the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So, yeah, and look, you know, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. But we're friends now, so respect to him.
And your message for
Fury, listen, we'll see.
After the bout, Ryan Garcia shared a blunt and provocative reaction on social media that quickly drew attention across the boxing community. While Garcia acknowledged Jake Paul's effort, he also made a pointed comparison involving another top name, Gervonta Davis, suggesting in his post that Davis would have done even worse damage to Paul or ended the fight more decisively than Joshua. His comment sparked further debate, with many analysts agreeing with Garcia and arguing that the matchup did not represent elite-level boxing. In the aftermath of the fight, criticism continued to grow, as some observers maintained that the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul contest should never have taken place at all.
Look, fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing, and we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite for the fan going to be there when this is such a bad look overall for the sweet science, the sport of boxing, which, you know, cannot get out of its way anyway?
Critics argue that the vast difference in size, experience, and overall skill between a former heavyweight world champion and a social media personality turned boxer made the matchup feel more like a spectacle than a genuine sporting contest. Many believe that placing Paul in the ring with an opponent who possesses Olympic credentials and real heavyweight power created significant safety concerns, a view reinforced by his broken jaw and the multiple knockdowns he suffered during the fight.
Anthony Joshua being taken 6 rounds by Jake Paul. We're in the aftermath here. The press conference is going on behind us. We're yet to see Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua out here. Ak, you were ringside, you were around the whole fight. People are complaining that Anthony Joshua may have embarrassed himself in there tonight, letting Jake take him 6 rounds.
It's ridiculous. Anybody that saying that doesn't know anything about boxing. First off, if you see how Jake was moving and clinching the first 3-4 rounds of that fight, you would understand. It doesn't matter how bad you are. If a fighter in front of you is destined to not get hit and not get knocked out, it's almost impossible to knock that guy out. When Jake was okay with exchanging and trying, even he was exhausted, he said, I'm gonna try, that's when AJ was there to land the shots. AJ did what he was supposed to do. Not easy to knock a guy out that's surviving, you know that.
Yeah, I do. I wondered early on whether he didn't have a lot of adrenaline and he was walking Jake down. Jake was making himself small and moving away. And AJ said, you know what, I'm gonna take my time here and marinate you.
Exactly. Listen, when a guy that's moving like Jake, that's inexperienced, you're going to gas out. I knew it for after half the first round. If Jake keeps moving like that, he's going to gas out in 2-3 rounds. And I noticed that AJ said, okay, I'm gonna let him run around, right? People are screaming, cut the ring off. Let me let him run around and gas out. Once he gassed out, what happened? He had to stay in front of him.
Experts maintain that these kinds of crossover events damage the credibility of professional boxing by prioritizing entertainment value and pay-per-view profits over true competitive balance, arguing that the bout was driven largely by hype rather than genuine athletic merit.
The bigger picture, you and I are boxing guys, we go to boxing all the time. The question we perhaps need to ask is, did that entertain the fans tonight? Should we be seeing that again? Is that it now? We've seen that novelty. Should a fight like that between an Olympic champion, a heavyweight world champion, against a relative novice, should that be sanctioned and licensed by a commission? You know, it was a one-off. Jake's a one-off, but we shouldn't be seeing a lot of these events, in my view.
Never again. We should never have that gap of experience,
the mismatch,
skill set, should never happen again. I mean, to your point, Jake is an anomaly, right? Like, we can let him get that off. He tried it, and he even landed a couple of shots, but you saw at first, I mean, as soon as he landed first right hand, even he saw, I can't hurt this guy. I'm not gonna.
It was a pebble hitting a tank, is how I've described it.
Great description. So, I think it's, in some sense, we needed to have this in order for it
to get
not
it
to
out
happen
of our
again.
system.
Right.
Yeah,
in order for it not to happen again. And look, let's not ignore that there were other fighters on the card who were watched, who were seen from places all around the world. So it served its purpose, and kudos to Netflix for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, Baumgardner was very good. Alicia Baumgardner defending her belts. Caroline Dubois was very good. She signaled herself to the American market, as you mentioned. So at least they benefit from it as well tonight, which will continue to happen with MVP and Netflix.
And that's what Jake and Nikisa, that's their agenda, right? Of course, it's Jake, but Jake has all of that in mind. Who can I showcase on this event? He did it for Amanda Serrano. She's made millions. He's starting to look, Dubois, she looked great. I want to see her again. Me personally, I became a
What's your take on it all? Do you see this fight as a real test of boxing skill, or was it simply a spectacle that never should have taken place in the first place? Share your opinion and let us know what you think in the comments below.